system malfunction.
What's good, YouTube? Hey, check this out. I found another case of dysfunction that I wanted to share with you guys. I did a Google query on the search term imposter, and this is one of the queries that I got back. It says that an imposter is a noun referring to one who takes on an assumed identity in order to deceive. Now, I know Halloween isn't that far off, but I've been seeing people walking around suited up in Halloween costumes every day of the year. I mean, all 365. Listen, if you feel the need to put on a Halloween costume every day of the year as an adult, there are clearly some deep-seated issues that you probably need to get worked out. My recommendation is, if you have a job, most times your place of employment will have an HR department that has, they have access to services that they can refer you out to be able to talk to a certified professional, where you can give them a call, set an appointment, get yourself in there, sit down on their couch so that they can talk to you softly. And at these places, apparently, they can help you dig out all of this pain and trauma that is festering at the core of your inner being. Nobody needs to be a psychologist or have a psychology degree. I mean, hell, you don't even have to have taken a Psych 101 at the junior college level to be able to assess that people who do this are heavily deluded. All across social media, I hear women referring to themselves as diva and queens. But what I see is Black women who are extremely delusional and insecure queen imposters. I mean, the opening clip on this post perfectly fits that definition. You have a woman who's sitting in the chair of a stylist, about to be transformed. But if you look really closely, just look at the expression on this woman's face. You can see the pain. You can see the fear, the insecurity. She has the appearance of, I am less than, I'm not worthy. It just looks very meek and dark. The other day, I spent a couple of hours surfing social media, and I came across hundreds of these videos where women do these tutorials on how to properly install someone else's hair on their heads. Guys, if you find the time, I challenge you to look at a couple of these videos and watch these wig hat wearing people so you can get an understanding of the lengths that Black women will go to completely hide their natural physical form. Look at it from a logical standpoint and using all rationale. Why do you think women are doing this to themselves? Let me know down in the comments section, because I am curious to hear other perspectives on this, because I have mine. I hear all the time about Black people complaining about cultural appropriation. They get beside themselves. They get fully enraged when a woman that doesn't share their reflection or is not part of their ethnicity decides to, put their hair in braids or something like that. That's the most common one. Just look at this. Who is really culturally appropriating who? Black women's hair does not grow out of their heads bone straight, and nor does it grow out of their heads blonde. Yeah, there are a few African countries or African tribes where, for example, Ethiopia comes to mind, where sometimes you can find these women who does have a different texture of hair, where it does appear a little bit more straighter, but it's never as straight as someone from Asia or Europe or Mexico or Latin America. But on the whole, just based on Black women's geographical place of origin, the climate and the environment just didn't provide for them to have hair that is long and straight and bone straight. It's a complete different part of the world. For those of you that don't know, I mean, black people, we know how our hair grows out of our heads. But for those of you that don't know what this is or what it's supposed to look like, black people's hair in general is extremely unique to any other hair structure around the world. It grows out of our heads like, I'm not trying to be funny here, but think of a piece of carpet or a piece of felt. It is very tightly curled and dense. But what's really fascinating about this is that when these women go through this transformation or they put on this Halloween costume, somewhere deep down in their minds, they feel that they have really become who or whatever it is that they see in the reflection in the mirror. And you can tell immediately by their change in attitude. The moment they go from looking like buckwheat to this delusional, insecure black queen imposter, right? She has more pep in her step. There is an apparent air of bravado and confidence that wasn't there just before she underwent that change. I mean, we're not even talking about the other added accessories like the nails and the fake up. I honestly believe this is criminal and should be punished with prison time. I'm talking about solitary confinement, 23-1. You get 23 hours inside your cell and 1 hour on the yard if you are found to be doing this. Everybody else who does this is either punished or ridiculed for doing stuff like this. If I was to go purchase a police outfit, like a police uniform off of eBay or something like that, and paint my car to resemble a police cruiser, I'm going to jail. That is a crime. You will be locked up, right? If I had never enlisted in the military, but I went and purchased a Marine suit or something like that, or a Navy suit, and walked around the city acting like I spent time in the military, those who know and those who have been there, right? I'm not talking about Halloween, but I will eventually be found out from those who did serve, and the veterans would ridicule me and possibly put hands on me. So what's the difference in this instance when these women are sitting here completely changing their natural form to look like something completely different and then moving about the world that way? It's like, let me hide the fact that I look like Buckwheat's twin from the Little Rascals and completely alter my natural look. I think this tells an extremely dark story. It tells an extremely sad story. At this point, I don't even believe that therapy alone could help these women. And gentlemen, listen to me closely. If you are careless enough to date one of these women or even strike up a conversation with one of these women, I'm here to tell you what you're about to be dealing with. Because honestly speaking, you're better off jumping over a fence into a pit of alligators than to deal with the delusion that is associated with women who do this. Because anyone who takes these measures does not love themselves. There is a tremendous amount of self-hate. So they could never, no matter how hard they tried, they could never love or care for you the way that you deserve. Because you got to be able to have that feeling and those emotions and that sense of awareness in yourself before you're able to deliver that and share that amongst people who are in your circle. The imposter always presents themselves differently in the beginning, right? Very warm, they're welcoming, attentive, right? They'll do all of that until they get close enough. Now, just imagine if you decide to date one of these women or even have a conversation, like I said, with one of these imposters. At some point in time, she's going to relax and let her hair down, pun intended, right? She's gonna come over to your house one day. She's gonna take a shower, right? You're gonna set up a real nice romantic dinner. You're gonna get back to your place, burn some candles. The intimacy is gonna start to heat up, and before you know it, you are in there, right? Taking care of business, right? You might decide at some point to get a little aggressive, flip her over because you've been dying to see what that backside looks like anyways, right? You've been waiting to check out that view. It's all good, right? You're getting all up in there. And then at some point you're going to want to feel like you're riding through the pastures or something like that, like you're riding a pony. So you're going to decide to grab a handful of that hair. And at that moment, the candles are going to go out all on their own. You're going to be like, right? The music's going to stop, right? You were streaming some really nice, sexy, romantic music and the internet just goes out. And that box of hers is going to dry right up like the Serengeti. And she's going to turn around and look at you like you just slapped her grandmama. And that's going to be a night you will never forget. But no problem. You get over it, right? You get past it. You guys talk about it. You understand what it is. But you're still trying to figure out how in the hell did the candles go out on their own, right? So anyways, a few days pass. Everything's good. Buckwheat. So you got to make a decision. Either you call the SWAT team and tell her to pack her shit, or you come to the conclusion that that booty is just that good that you're going to decide to work through it. So you choose option 2. Hey, I'm going to stick around and work through it because, I can deal with this as long as I'm getting that. Now the imposter knows that you know what she really looks like, right? And that isn't as appealing as it was when she has her Halloween costume on, right? So you'll start to notice a change in her demeanor. Her attitude is going to become terrible. She'll start snapping her fingers and barking orders at you. The lovemaking is going to drastically decrease. She'll develop a chicken neck where it's swiveling all around in awkward directions. Doesn't look natural. All of this because the person that you decided to date has never truly loved herself, and the confidence and the swagger was never really true. There was nothing real about that from the get, but everything on the exterior told a completely different story. So you ignore all those red flags. You figure you guys have been together for a little while. She's decent in a lot of ways until she decides to explode and throw your shit outside the door, tell you ain't shit, your mama ain't shit, and all this other stuff. So you let it pass. And now you decide to marry her. So you guys decide to get on down the aisle. Let me tell you what that price tag looks like. Right? You may be a conservative gentleman. You know the value of the dollar. And so you would like to put away money. I mean, during the time that I was doing the research and surfing around social media, man, I went to Amazon. A lot of these tutorials tell you the cost of these wigs and the cost of the upkeep and the time that's required to look this specific way. It is amazing how these women find the time in a day to do all this. I was talking to one of my friends. Just imagine if you had a kid or two, or if you had a full-time 9 to 5. This stuff takes like 4 to 6 hours to do. It is extremely time consuming. But just think about what's going through one's mind as they're having to tweak and manipulate themselves before they walk out the door to feel good about themselves. Just think about how dark that is. One thing that really gets me about black women who wear these wigs is that, how white women, when the hair sort of gets blown into their face or in the way of their eyes, they take that one little index finger and they'll, sort of grab the hair and slowly move it behind their ear. You know what I'm talking about. And all they're doing is getting the hair out of the way of their face. But black women, you'll see them do this like that's their hair. They have completely taken on this identity, which tells me this is who you want to be like. So stop talking about cultural appropriation. I am tired of hearing this, and every time I hear it, it drives me up the wall. especially when you are doing everything you can to look like that very woman who you want to yell and scream at for braiding her hair up in a certain way. Braids have been around forever. You don't own the rights to a braided hairstyle. Yeah, black people may wear braids in a certain way, but you don't own that. You have no patent to that. People can do what the hell they want to do with their hair. You should look at it as a compliment. Maybe they find beauty in you when you do that. So why not support them when they do that? Every time I see a white girl or a Caucasian woman that has her hair braided up in like cornrow braids, man, I think it's a beautiful thing. It looks different. It looks nice. And I always compliment them. I'm like, man, I like your hair. Do you guys know where this hair comes from? Last I heard, a lot of this hair comes out of Southeast Asia, specifically, I think it's southern India and different parts of Vietnam. And I remember reading or listening to something that said in India that a lot of these women sacrifice their hair to the gods because they believe that sacrificing their hair, it's supposed to bring them good fortune or good luck. And according to the numbers, I want to say it was either 500 or 5,000 tons of hair that get exported out of India to the US and Africa every single year. Don't quote me on that number, but I know it was either 500 or 5000. I might be wrong. I mean, hell, I might be in the wrong business. Sounds like I should open up a trap house and start slinging wigs out the back window. They have made the most intimate part of a woman, her hair, and commoditized it around the world. And black women are the sole source of this item. I mean, this is a very, very demanding product. But anyways, when it's all said and done, you decide to marry this woman, and naturally you're going to commingle your funds. You're going to be on the hook for fitting this bill and supporting this demonic behavior. From my perspective, when you're talking about dating and relationships, it is asinine for me to try and date a woman when she is trying her damnedest to look like something or somebody completely different. So why wouldn't I just go find that woman that you're trying to emulate? The late great Kevin Samuels talked about this on many of his broadcasts and posts. And may he rest in peace. That man did amazing work. He's the one who started this conversation amongst the black community, pointed out a lot of the dysfunction that was taking place between the two of us and why we can't get further in life together. So thanks to him. So shout out to him. I always agree with him when he said Marisol, Mei Ling, and Becky, they all come pre-assembled for the person that you're trying to look like. So why would I choose the knockoff when I can just get the real thing? And I see him walking around me every single day. The moral of the story, black woman, is that the ones who are doing this to themselves, you got to realize that you are a delusional, extremely insecure imposter. So guys, I mean, women and men, let's strike up a conversation down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this topic. Am I stretching this? Am I far off the mark? Or do you agree with me? Gentlemen, at the end of the day, you must stay vigilant because you are surrounded by walking lies. Every step they make, every smile they make, every hair gesture they make, that's a walking lie. So at the end of the day, gentlemen, you got to stay vigilant because you are clearly surrounded by a download malfunction.
This is the new wig. I tried a new fun style. I think it's kind of cute, but this is it on.
System malfunction.